Hello, welcome guys back to channel. Maverick here with another episode of Sakura Wars the Animation. So, continuing to watch along, even though I was on the verge of dropping it last episode, restored a little bit of my faith in this series as well. Things are getting a little bit interesting in terms of the backstory, especially what actually happened with the Moscow Combat Revue. Is Kaminsky really an enemy, or maybe is he just misguided, etc, etc, right? And we also got to see some action as well. However, in this episode, it seems that we're going back to some of the more, I guess, daily lives of the girls and whatnot, especially since our supposed male lead of this anime, Seijiro, is back, at least judging from the preview. So, I don't know, let's just get into it and see if it's going to be at least interesting. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. And we are past the halfway point now, so hi. He's been gone like half the anime. I mean, what? I'm kind of curious, like, why does Clara know of Seijiro that much? He literally just rescued her. It wasn't even just him. He basically just brought him from Moscow, or from Russia, or wherever, back to Japan. When did they get so close? You know, that demon girl is probably the real enemy, right? Kaminsky might just be misguided or something. I mean, he is one of the combat revues, after all, who are supposed to be fighting against evil and protecting mankind. Yeah, this girl. Tale to date? Between who? Oh. Really? Direct. Huh. Berlin. I don't know anything about this. Sister version. This is referring to stuff I don't really know about. Because Seijiro is back. Yeah, none of the girls are buying that. So, right. So he's Papa? Back to reality. They're all doing something. Germany and Belgium? Or Netherlands. Ah, oh well. Wow. Greek cooking. How's... Well, I already mentioned this. Alright, Luxembourg. Beef strong. Anyway, I mentioned before, right, in the first episode that this is, after all, partially a love simulation game as well. That frog. Well, that's nice. And they're all of different cultures as well, huh? Hmm. Hmm? Oh? Okay. This is certainly a good mood, a good situation. So you're really talking about that right in front of Clara? Oh, a date? Such a player. In the game, though, you can basically choose any of the girls to be with together. Though in literally all iterations, the main girl is still the canon girl, if you will. Taking her along. So it seems even more like a family. And of course, the ones telling them are going to be. Huh. Wait, it's gonna be you guys? No, of course the other girls as well. Wait, they're telling them using. Okay. Oh, the Moon Division. Are they allowed to use the stuff for personal matters though? Oh wow, it's making this more interesting. Is that a play on Asakura? The temple? The amusement park. So, are the other girls also gonna... Yeah. And then they're all going to be ready to fight once Kaminsky and Layla appears, right? Yeah. It's the temple. Data. She really understands Sakura. Yeah, she's completely in the know. She knows how to have fun as well. high vantage point, I see. Ooh. Perfect design. Disguise, eh? Split up, eh? Yeesh. Well, this is certainly fun. And this is your disguise? Really? But then again, Sakura was never able to see through her sensei as well, so... Oh, get on the boat. Ah, you guys are too late. What about Kaminsky and Layla? Ah, there. Are they gonna make it? Let me guess, no. I mean, it's just a small river. No words. No words at all. And let me guess, by the end of this episode, something will happen between Seijiro and Sakura. He's gonna go himself. Ah. So they're just going to... They're just gonna have a good time here. Sure, sure, sure. Woo! Yeah, of course, there's gonna have to be a little something between Seijiro and Sakura as well. Now it's time for the adults. So is he literally going to be back for one episode, and then we're never gonna see him again? Maybe in the last episode or something. Or last arc, let's say. Oh, a bell. Yeah, the other girls are gonna be so jealous. Alright, what now? Declaration of war? Or something? Alright, see you guys after this. Alrighty, so as I mentioned at the beginning, this was going to turn into more of a daily life kind of episode, right? With, Seijiro being back and them going on a date or something or another. But at the very least, though, it was entertaining, right? It was definitely much better than some of the earlier episodes, which also dealt with the daily lives as well, but, wasn't quite as funny or entertaining as this one. Sure, it's cliche and all that, but I still enjoyed it. And again, this is part of the thing that makes up Sakura Wars, right? It's of course a RPG. It's also a a mech game. Not really action, but more of a mech. And what's it called again? ARPG or SRPG? That kind of stuff. And at the same time, it does have the sort of gal game aspects of it, which is you have all these various girls, and then you can woo them, and of course you can get into a relationship and have an ending with each of the different girls, right? Of course, throughout all the iterations of Sakura Wars, typically there is still one main route, if you will, and in the originals, like back in 1, 2, and 4, I believe, the original Sakura was basically the canon person to end up with. So it only makes sense that in this sort of soft reboot as well, the one that's directly inspired by Sakura from the past, which is Sakura now, is also going to be the main girl, right? No surprise there. But I'm just saying though, in terms of the actual game, you can choose any of the girls to be together with at the very end. The different endings or different routes, if you will. Not really that much to talk about this episode. I think though, one other thing that I'm going to mention is in regards to Kaminsky and Layla, right? So at the beginning, we do see a little bit more. Perhaps they really aren't of the original Moscow Combat Revue or whatnot. Hard to say, but at the very least, though, with them also participating in this sort of farce for this episode, I think you get the idea that Kaminsky and Layla are definitely not going to be the main antagonist of this series as well. They're not going to be the main enemies. Now, they might have some ulterior motives that might not necessarily go in line with the Imperial Combat Revue, but I don't think they're going to end up being complete enemies at the very end there. I still believe that the sort of demon girl that we saw before, that is the one who's going to be the true enemy. Well, actually, what if the demon girl turns out to be Layla? Huh. That's actually something that I never actually thought before. But basically, I'm just saying I don't particularly think that Kaminsky and Leda are going to be the bitter enemies of the Imperial Combat Revue, considering they also showed their their funny points, their charm points, if you want to call it, in this episode, right? So we'll see in the future. But anyways, in the next one, I think we are going to be going back to some action yet again. I do find it funny that Seijiro is actually going to leave once again. I'm not sure if this is what happens in the game as well. It would suddenly be kind of surprising to me, because throughout all the Sakura Wars, you typically play as the male main character. So in 5, I'm assuming that you should be playing as Seijiro as well. So why is it that he's basically never around here, right? That doesn't really make sense to me. But, whatever. This is the anime, right? So, that's it for this episode. A little bit of a short review here, but as I said before, I'm not going to go too deep into this series, and this episode in particular was more of a, just more of a fun one, entertaining one, after all, right? So, just enjoy it, and, well, I'll see you guys next week. Till then, bye-bye.